What's up, gang? Back again with another weekly video. And today's video, we are going to be talking about chapter 6 of my brand new book, The Simplicity Complexity of Life. If you have not yet, go pick yourself up a copy. Life-changing work. Real nice, easy intro to philosophy right here. Just my philosophy on how to conduct yourself and move throughout life. Chapter 6, The Power of Giving In. I open this chapter by saying, the slave becomes the master when he fortifies his mind, when he realizes they can break his body, but not his mind. He is the one that determines if he lets them break his mind. Such an important part of having power is knowing that you only truly have power over yourself. We must fortify our mind to outside distractions, to naysayers, to disbelievers and doubters. We have to cut out any doubt within ourselves and from outside sources telling us we can't accomplish goals or we can't do things. We have a lot of times in life where people will tell us, hey, I think you're dreaming a little too big, or that's not really realistic, or this or that. We have to look at all the most successful people that we look up to in the world that are these worldly movers. People like Kanye West, Martin Luther King, who else? Obama, or gosh, so many people. But those are three great examples. People told them, that's a little out of reach. Kanye, you're better off just staying a producer. Or Martin Luther King, you want equal rights for everyone? That seems a little out of reach. It's always been segregation. Obama being the first black president, that seems a little crazy and radical. These were all things that people were telling them coming up. And they had to shut out that doubt. And we have to do that with ourselves as well, and shut out the doubt within us, but from outside sources, knowing that people can break us physically and can do things to us physically, but we're the one that determines mentally if we let them break us or push us down or hold us down or suppress us. And with that is the story of one of my favorite philosophers, Epictetus. Epictetus was born a slave in what is modern-day Turkey. He was born into slavery. His master was a secretary in the court of the Emperor Nero. Epictetus would be subject to great torture from his master. One day he was being tortured. They were twisting and twisting and twisting his leg, and Epictetus's response to his master was to look him calmly in the eyes and tell him, if you keep doing that, it's going to break my leg. And then eventually his leg snaps and it breaks. Epictetus then makes no sound, does not complain, but simply says, "Didn't I warn you?" Epictetus accepted what he could not control. He kept his composure. He did not lash out and make a fool of himself, but instead showed his true mental strength. He did not let the master break his spirit, because he didn't give the master what he wanted, which was to break his soul. Instead, he made a fool of the master, because now all the master has is a slave that can't do work. And this is an injury that would affect the rest of Epictetus's life. But he would not let it hold him back. He would walk with a limp for the rest of his life. He would reference his injury in his talks and writings, because he would not let his physical impediment debilitate him. He believed that his mind is above the body. Epictetus would study philosophy under Mansonius Rufus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers of the time, because the Stoics believed Stoicism was not only for the upper elite men in society, but also for slaves, women, and anyone and everyone should have access to the knowledge of Stoicism. Eventually, Epictetus's own teachings and writings would go on to influence the Emperor of Rome and philosopher we know as Marcus Aurelius, a real full circle moment that encapsulates the life of Epictetus, starting as a slave in the court of the Emperor of Rome, getting tortured, to eventually influencing and teaching the new Emperor of Rome. which is truly an astonishing showing of his resilience and wisdom. Epictetus accepted what he could not control and made something out of what he had. Epictetus created the dichotomy of control, as he called it. He described it as us having two buckets, one of things we can't control in life, the way we react to things, our actions, our thoughts, and opinions, and the second bucket, things we can't control, like other people and the things that happen to us. We as people spend so much time focusing on things we can't control, and that does nothing but worry us and in the long run makes the experience worse for us. Instead, we should spend more time on focusing on what we can control, like what we put into the world, our actions, our responses to others, and taking a step back before reacting and looking at situations from a different perspective and a lot of times letting go. The dichotomy of control is something that Epictetus propositioned in philosophy, and that's that we only have two ways of looking at control: the things we can control within ourselves and the outside world. We don't control if someone comes up and physically hurts us, even if you're a religious or spiritual person. A lot of times people think God's in control or there's a higher power or something. No, we have control over only one person and one person only. Us. We control our fate and what happens to us in this moment. We don't even really truly control that, because someone can come up and kill you right now. A meteor could fall out of the sky and crush you to death. You could walk across the street, get hit by a car. The only thing you really have control over is the way you react. And even that, there's debate whether if we truly have free will or not. And that's one of the greatest questions in philosophy, is if we truly have free will. Because as we grow to know and study, so much of the way we are is based off of our genetics, our parents, the way we were brought up, where we were brought up, our money. So, such a heavy question to answer is, do we truly have free will? And there's three options. There is free will, that we have control over ourselves, our body, our mind, 100%. Then there is determinism. That is that every action is determined based off of things in the past. Me sitting here having this chat with you is based off of hundreds of millions of decisions that have been made before this. Then there is what I believe in, which is compatibilism, and that is that both somewhat exist. We have free will over minor decisions and the bigger ones, in a sense, but there's tiny little things that impact all our decisions. But at the end of the day, we are the one that truly decides what we do. Next, one of the most powerful moves you can do is to surrender. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times people think that having power and control over people is by being conniving and scheming and cutting people short and giving people a bad hand purposely. That is a way you can have control over people, but a lot of times that comes with resentment. What I mean by one of the most powerful moves you can do is to surrender. Is a lot of people don't understand that such a big part of power is giving up, and not even necessarily giving up, but giving in, letting who is above you know that, hey, I'm stopping here. I'm not going to engage any farther in this. Let's say someone comes up and tries to start an argument with you. Are you going to engage with them and argue back and make a fool out of yourself, or are you going to take a step back and be like, hey, whatever, I give up, you win, all right? You keep your peace, your sanity, and you stop yourself from looking like a fool. That's an example of giving in, Giving in and surrendering is different than quitting. And I want to make that very clear. Quitting is stopping because you think you can't win and you think you're wrong or that you're stupid. That is quitting. Surrendering or giving in is letting the other person think they win. Letting them think that they're getting what they want, but really you're the one making a fool out of themselves or preventing yourself from looking dumb. One of the most powerful moves you can do is to surrender. Drop your veil. Show them the real you, that you have nothing to hide or run from. So many people don't understand that such a big part of having power is the ability to let go and give in. Letting go of hate, resentment, fear of the past. These things will only hold you back. Being able to show vulnerability and your weakness, but to not let it cripple you. All throughout history, one of the biggest hurdles with vulnerability people have faced, especially men, is the ability to show emotion, cry, show vulnerability to others due to fear of judgment. So, like I kind of said there, a massive thing is showing vulnerability, and that is a place where we should find a lot of power. Being able to express yourself freely, being able to cry, to let people know, hey, I need help with this, or I'm struggling right now emotionally, or maybe it's physically, I can't quite do this, I need some help getting or putting this together. That shows that you're very much self-aware, you're confident within yourself because you're not scared to look like you need help. And another thing, knowing people who you can trust. Those are all things that show someone has real true power. And then also that men have struggled with that notoriously throughout history, not being able to show emotion, not being able to cry, to express themselves, and that men have needed to be seen as these stonewall, stoic figures. That's not real stoicism. Stoicism is being in control of your emotions, but crying at times. Like I say in this book, there's a story of Marcus Aurelius and how he cried when he became emperor because he was fearful of the responsibility and the role he was going to find himself in. He cried when he lost his children, to illness. He cried when he lost his wife of over 30 years. Those are things you cry about. But if someone comes up and has a problem and they need your help, you don't turn your back or freak out, or if you find yourself frustrated, you don't lash out on others. You take that step back and you address it appropriately, and you're in control of your emotions. Marcus Aurelius, I go on to talk about that story about how he lost his wife of 35 years, and he cried after losing 8 of his children, including all but one of his sons. He accepted the reality of his circumstances. This type of action is similar to that of a quote by the creative Pharrell Williams, one of my biggest inspirations and role models in life. He said, "When something happens to you, take note, take it serious, take care of it, but never take it personal." When something truly beautiful or touching or saddening happens to you, you can cry, you can show that emotion, you can even may feel frustrated at it. But knowing not to lash out at others, not to make a fool of yourself, not to, bury it down, to properly display it and show it like a stoic and like a real human being and like a real strong man or woman does. Next, this same philosophy also applies into conflict with others. When someone insults you, you don't have control over the words they use, but you have control over the way you react. So take note, take it serious, take care of it, but don't take it personal. In times of conflict, sometimes when it comes to opponents, you have to let them in close so you can grab them before they grab you. So that kind of steps into Machiavellian almost territory right there, of a big part of showing vulnerability, and this comes into where it can kind of border that line of Machiavellianism, where it's scheming and conniving and using your emotions and other people's emotions to give yourself leverage in certain circumstances and situations. Sometimes you can use your emotions to seem vulnerable to other people, so they come in to try and comfort you, or sometimes the opposite, they come in to give you that killing blow, and then you flip it on them and you suck them in. You get what you want from them, or you crush them and kill them before they can kill you. Opening up to them vulnerably, showing that even with your weakness, is showing you are still more comfortable and confident than they are. That shows great power. Like I kind of said earlier, being vulnerable and knowing that you can be vulnerable but still stand on your own 2 feet and be in control of yourself shows very immense power. And that is it for chapter 6. If you guys did enjoy that, make sure you guys go out, pick up a copy, and that is all I got for you guys today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.